Welcome Friday night racing at Woodbine Mohawk Park. I'm going to be your host single tonight. This is Randy Waples. We were going to have a special guest with us tonight. Hopefully we can catch up with them a little bit later on tonight, but we were going to have the official world driving champion. Going to jet him in from New Zealand to have a talk with you guys out there, and we're going to kind of catch up with James, see what's going on with him. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get him in just as the show starts. So we might be able to get him in a little bit later on tonight. But we still have some really, really good racing for you here tonight. And like I said, I haven't given up totally on the James thing. If I have to, I'll run out there and lasso him myself and bring him in here for you guys to talk to. So looking forward to that. But we do have 11 races tonight. And let's, kind of get into them right now. Let's get at this. Interesting sort of a Friday night. So let's get right into race number 2. And this is going to be the Harvest Series for Ontario sired 3-year-old fillies. And we got one in here that is really, really racing quite well right now. Cold Creek Fuego, 6-5 morning line. And my guess would be that she is the reason why there is going to be no show wagering on race number 2 tonight. So field of 7, we got all the gimmicks up on the top of the page for you, but there will be no show wagering in race number 2 tonight in this Harvest Series. So let's break race number 2 down. This is quite a nice little field that we got going on tonight. This Harvest is going to be a really, really nice series here for 3-year-old Payson fillies. Cold Creek Fuego, I would say, is probably the favorite right now, but there's been a couple of nice divisions. There's going to be one coming along a little bit later on tonight too with some nice horses in it as well. So let's take a look at Cold Creek Fuego's last start, which is the Harvest Series on November the 7th. And that was a good track. They were given 1 second. Started it off a little bit slow, made her way to the front. Once she got to the front, she knew exactly what she was going to be doing there for driver Louis Waugh. You can see him camped up right up on top now with this Daniel Walker trainee. My goodness, his barn has been racing very, very well. And this is one of the ones that has been leading the show. Since she's come to our track, she's had, 2 seconds and 3 wins. In as many starts. So, just really, really good right now. And look at her right on the end. Few of them are going to take shots at her. The 5 horse that's going to be coming up the inside, racing quite well for Jody Jameson. And I think Beau Ford is the trainer of that one. But no serious problems for Cold Creek Fuego. I'm going to come right back to her in this race. She's going to be my top pick in here. I'm also going to back her up with Stone Sawyer, horse of Beaton's that I think's racing really, really good with the rail. Jonathan Drury in the bike for that one. Better Double Down, going to throw this one in for third. The 6 horse for Herb Holland and Dougie McNair. Picking up Dougie McNair for the first time in recent memory on Better Double Down. And to me, that's always a huge Better Double Down, take a double look. That's what it is when Dougie McNair jumps up first time. Really, really makes a big impact sometimes when he jumps up on one, so he's pretty dangerous that way. And the 7 horse Marlene's Legacy, going to throw this one in on the bottom. So race number 2, my numbers are going to be 2, 1, 6, and 7, and my all-in is in that race, and that is going to be Cold Creek Fuego. So let's move on. Race number 4, and here we have fillies and mares, 5-year-olds and younger, non-winners of 2 races in this one. Couple of scratches in this race. We started out with a field of 10, and we're going to be down to a field of 8 with the 7 horse Don't Mess with Molly and the 10 horse Play Date, both coming up a little bit sick tonight, so they won't be joining us in here. My top pick is going to be the 9 horse Highland Delight, coming out of Benny Hollingsworth's barn. 2 Down was a winner over our track in this class in 53 and 4. And if you look a little bit further down, yes, you do see Delaware and Jugette beside this one's name. She didn't do any good, but they did take her down, and she put on a pretty good showing of herself, pacing a mile in 52 and 4. I don't think that they take her. I don't think they race her in the Simcoe, and I don't think that they race her in the Jugette and truck her all the way down there unless they thought that they were dealing with a bit of a special filly. Now she's going to come back to a straight non-winners of 2. She won it 2 starts ago here on our track. She's going to be my top pick. Now, I don't understand why she would make that break at Flamborough. Like I said, she did race in Delaware, had no issues with that half mile, but for some reason did make a little bit of a miscue at Flamborough. Got away, ended up getting away 6 by 25 lengths, and look at the line. She finishes 6, only beaten 3 1/4. So big movement on the end of it for Highland Delight, and I think that she can kick this night off with a win for driver Travis Henry and Benny Blue Eyes Hollingsworth as trainer. So let's again move on here, and we are going to move on to race number 7. Again, this pop-up series final, and again, we have no show wagering in on this race tonight. Now, this is a really interesting field. My top pick last week got the job done. St. Lads beat it. I chart my own horses. Beside his name, I have Jog. He was the easiest of winners in this class. Now, that was out of the 4-hole. And he's going to have the 10-hole to work with in here tonight. So I'm going to throw him in for second. I say it's a chance that, maybe there's a chance that we can beat him, because I think he's going to be pretty well, odds on in this race. He was a big favorite last week at $1.15. He is going to have the 10-hole, but I still see him as being your favorite. So Blast of Sunshine, got this one in for third. Also have him down as Jog in his last effort, and he was claimed. Going to move into Gerard Demers's barn. Gerard Demers's barn racing extremely well right now on our circuit. So this guy really needs to, going to have to come up with a big effort, because the horse that I'm going to go to in this race is the 6 horse, Senior Advisor. And this guy picking up James McDonald tonight. Let's take a look at his last start for Courtney Bishop and Jody Jameson with this one. Had the 2-hole, got away in a good spot, got away 4, stayed to the inside around the last turn, ends up getting himself to the outside, and 6 1/4 lengths out at the head of the lane. You can see it far out of it at the head of the lane, but going to make a big move here down on the end of it, finishing third, only going to get beat 2 1/4 on the end of it. So let's take a look at this one and see some big movement going forward for a Senior Advisor on this one. And where he be? I don't know if this is the right No, that's there we go. This is going to be better. I was having a hard time picking out Jody there in that one, but now we see where he is. So yeah, moves himself to the outside in this race, and like I said, at the head of the lane, 8.5 is what they have this one out. I don't know if it's quite that far, but I'm going to take a shot at it and say 6.5 anyway, and she's going to keep coming forward. Jody not really working this one real hard, just kind of more or less keeping its interest, keeping coming forward, and down when everybody else is going to start to get tired, this one's not going to be quite as tired. Going to start to move forward pretty nicely here. 1:56, good movement on the end of it. So Senior Advisor picking up James McDonald. I'm going to go with this one. Now Jody is going to go with Unison in here for Paul McKenzie and owner Mark Meekins. Good luck with this one, Mark and Paul, for that. But Unison, Jody going to go with this one. Finished third with his last start in this series. Maybe he really liked him. I didn't use Unison in here tonight. You see, I'm the only one going to use Senior Advisor as well. But the rest of it looks like it's fairly formful. Nobody's going to use Satan Lads Beat It. Everybody jumping all over Blast of Sunshine and the 3-horse, He's Swift. I got him down in the bottom, lot him in for third. A few people using the 9-horse Raise Credit. I got him down as okay on end in his last. I thought he raced good, but I look at it as if you're going to use the 9, then I think that you probably should be using the 10-horse in there as well. Like I said, I think that he'll go off as the favorite. Maybe the 2-horse will end up being favorite status in there. Great mile for Blast of Sunshine in his last, but I think that St. Lads Beat It was every bit just as good. Only difference is one went in 53 and one went in 55, but I think the one that went in 55 could have went a lot quicker, so I'm going to stick with St. Lads Beat It in for my second pick in there. So let's move on to race number 9. Another harvest series on the pace for 3-year-old fillies. Like I said, we got 2 divisions of this tonight, and this is a nice little series that they got going along. Cold Creek Fuego looks like she's going to stand out in that first elimination. And right now, Park Avenue Janet, who raced amazingly well in her last, she is your favorite right now. I got down as Jogburger in beside her as well. Pick Me Up Hanover, the 3-horse in here. I think that she brings a lot to the plate. It's just a matter of what are we going to get. If she is on her game, you know, she can not only go with these ones, but I think that she, in my opinion, she might be the strongest horse in here. But we don't always get the same kind of a race from Pick Me Up Hanover. Sometimes, you know, it's good. Sometimes she just seems like she's going through the motions. I got her in here, but I do look at her as being very dangerous in here. I Bet You a Kiss. I got this one in for 4th. I got her down as being, you know, okay on the end of it, little bit on the end of it. You can see, you know, had the 9-hole, got away 8th by 13, and finishes it off, finishing 4th, but only beaten 4.5. So a little bit of movement on the end of it. But Steady Heart is the way I'm going to go in here. So let's take a look at Steady Heart's last race, coming in here on a short rotation in that right. Park Avenue Janet. That's the one that we're going to show. But just before we do show Park Avenue Janet, Steady Heart is going to be my top pick. Short rotation. Raced November the 1st at Flamborough. Comes back 6 days later at Woodbine. Finishes 2nd in here for Beau Ford and Jody Jamieson. Jody going to go Pick Me Up Hanover. Like I said, I think that she can be pretty dangerous in here, but I'm going to go Steady Heart with McDonald. Now, Park Avenue Janet, when I got her down as Jog in her last, let's take a look at that because she's going to be tough to beat in here. She's your morning line favorite. I'm guessing that she's probably going to go off as your favorite. Maybe Pick Me Up Hanover might even take that status as well, but would be my guess it'll be this girl right here. And, you know, another one, you know, it doesn't always, let's not always call her the most consistent, but boy, the talent is right there. And this series is really, really looking good for her. So this is going to be Park Avenue Janet. Pick Me Up Hanover finished in 2nd in there for Jody. And this is the one that he's going to elect to go with. Now, she doesn't have any answers for Park Avenue Janet, but she's got the rest of them pretty well measured. And Pick Me Up Hanover is coming in there on a really bad rotation. October the 17th and then November the 7th was that race that that you just witnessed in there. So probably a good solid 3 weeks that she'd missed going into that race. Still a pretty good effort finishing 2nd in there. And like I said, is going to be Jamieson's pick in there. So could be pretty dangerous in there. Me and Johnny Rallis going to go Steady Heart up on top. Garnet and Gisland going to be using my top pick in for 2nd. And they're going to go Park Avenue Janet. Logical the way that she's racing right now. But the only thing I would say to you too, and she did look good. She looked strong. You know, I'll be the first to say that, but she come in last quarter in 30-1. So let's hope that she was strong because in against this group, I don't think 30-1's going to cut it every week. So hopefully a little bit better for Park Avenue Janet. My numbers in race 9, 1, 4, 3, and 2. Let's move on to race number 10. And in this race, we got a pop-up series consolation for 8,000 claimers in here. Nice little field of horses in here. Let's start off, talk a little bit about the 2-horse coming back to the circuit last week. This is Faut. And the reason why I kind of know a little bit about this guy is originally I think he was bought as a yearling at Lexington, $250,000, and I think it was Ben Wallace that purchased this guy. And I sat behind him a couple of times as a 2-year-old. He is a true bettor's delight. He never really did any more than than what he wanted to do as a younger horse. Looks like he disappeared for a while. Been doing some of his racing on the small tracks. I always kind of liked him. I could see him being a little bit aggravating because, like I said, every once in a while, he wasn't going to do what you wanted to do. He was going to do what he wanted to do. But there was talent there. There was ability there. I think the older that this guy gets, the more that we're going to see of Faut. Now, I'm going to throw him in here for 3rd, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him come up with a much, much better effort for Travis Henry and Ronald McDonald for Faut. I'm going to go the 5-horse in here, Fiscal Policy. Couple of things that I like about him. We're going to show you the replay of that last race for Kevin Enman and Phil Houdon. Phil qualified this guy on October the 31st. He'd missed a little bit of time. He was entered to go at Flamborough on October the 8th, but was pulled up in that race, didn't finish that race. So really, his only charted line before that qualifier was September the 20th. So missed quite a bit of time going into that qualifier. Phil didn't do much with him, just kind of sat him back, let him come a little bit on the end of it, mile and 57 and 4, which is going to set him up for an okay effort in his next race, but not just going to max him or anything like that. So fiscal policy, let's take a look at the way that Phil's got this guy set up for this first start back. And again, I thought that this was a good one. Now, you're going to hear what I say about St. Lad's Beat It. I thought he was every bit as impressive in his win as what we've seen with, which horse is it now? Blast of Sunshine. So I think that this guy is every bit, to me, is every bit as impressive as Blast of Sunshine was in this. As you can see, again, Dougie's not doing much with this guy. He's just letting him roll, and as the race goes on, the separation between him and the rest of the field just keeps moving forward and moving forward on St. Lad's Beat It. But look at this one coming down through the middle for Phil Houdon. Jody Jamieson had some good wheels too, but I think Phil had even better wheels with fiscal policy. That was first start Lasix for fiscal policy. This is going to be second start Lasix for fiscal policy, and I love that angle, especially when the first start Lasix, not much was done, and we've seen that with the way that Phil managed this guy. One move on the end of it, this is going to set this guy up big time for tonight. Doesn't have to face some of the better ones like St. Lad's Beat It and Blast of Sunshine, but Mock Impact brings a lot of back class into this field. I got him in for second. $24,000 put away this year, but what about last year as a 9-year-old? $100,000 put away, and just short of $500,000, 2 wins short of 50 for Mock Impact. Just been an absolute success story for him. So got him in for second. Fout that we talked about in for third on this guy. And as you can see right now, it looks like everybody's going to go Mock Impact. We were just talking about, but I'm going to try this fiscal policy second start Lasix. Rawless and Garnett's got him in for third, and Gisland must like him a little bit too because he's got him in for second. So fiscal policy the way that I'm going to go in race number 10. So let's move on to the last race of the night. Yes, the Jackpot High Five of the night. Jackpot High Five has been going quite a bit lately. I don't think we have a carryover tonight. Do we, producer Jason? Do we have a carryover for this Jackpot High Five race? We do not. It has been going quite regularly, the Jackpot High Five. So we're going to start it with a clean slate tonight if you're looking to play that wager. And this is the race that you're looking for, race number 11. I think that there's one in here that really stands out, and he's your morning line favorite right now, Spartan General. I mean, he still shows preferreds on the bottom of his card. He just had some time off. Last race, June the 23rd, starts back on October the 10th in that qualifier. Single qualifier to work with. So looks like Chris is going to kind of bring him back on his own movement. And each week, last quarter seems to drop. Qualifier 28, first race 28, and then the last race 27 and 2. Good movement on the end of it for Spartan General. So let's take a look at his last race on November the 2nd, racing in the non-winners of 9,000. The start before that in the non-winners of 6,000, I'm not 100% sure if it wasn't even a better display in that first start back. Then he jumps up to non-winners of 9,000, so we can see this now a little bit further back. Had the rail to deal with, got away in a bad spot. I think the 7-hole suits him a lot better if Chris wants to, get him involved early or just even hold position. I think this is a better spot for him. But let's take a look at Spartan General. Going to see good wheels on the end of it. And again, like I said, this is, you're looking at right here, is non-winners of 9,000. Devil's Arch with J.R. Plant's going to get the job done. Truffles 2, Bella Cavala, just as a bit of a reference in here, because now Spartan General, as you can see down on the inside with Chris, not doing a whole lot with him. He's going to take a drop from that non-winners of 9,000 down into this non-winners of 2,500 last four. I think this is an incredible drop down, an optional 20,000 claiming tag on it as well. It's been a long time since we've seen Spartan General at a class this low, so I think that it's building steps, and we're going to start it in this race is where we're going to start this trek forward on the back half of the season for Spartan General. So he's going to be my top pick in this race. A couple of the other ones that I like in here as well. I like Tregarin. Going to get some equipment changes in on him tonight from the Bob Young camp. He's got a couple of starts into him since they brought him back from a qualifier. You know, I think that he's starting to get into a little bit better fitness-wise, but plus also this horse taking a huge drop down into this class too. So I think you got to take a real good serious look at him. No Angel Like Me. I got her down as good on the end of it in her last. I think Tyler Jones is picking himself up a fairly live drive in here as well. The only thing with her is she spends a lot of her time down in this class, so it's not really a drop for her. But when she is in this class, she always makes the hay grow. She makes the sun shine when she's down here, always picking up good money. But like I said, there's also going to be a couple of other horses like Spartan General that are going to be coming down to meet her in this class. So I don't know if she's really going to be the power of this class, but I do think that she's going to be live in here and come up with a big effort for Candace and Tyler Jones. In on for fourth, I got Mr. Magic. Always tough in this optional 20 claimer. And in on the bottom, I got Peso Hanover. Mark Etzel going to send a shoeing change in on him. They're going to take the aluminums off, and they're going to go to a set of steel up on front on him. You know, September the 19th, he had a decent effort in there, went off as the favorite, finished fifth in there, was back in November the 3rd, almost about 3 weeks later, but scratched, and then was back in 4 days after that. So what I would say, not exactly a great rotation going into that last effort. So had a couple of moves there, come up with a nice second in there. Should be a lot better in this class 2 weeks in a row. So Peso Hanover could be, hear some noise from him too. Has to deal with the outside post though. And Donatover, another one that I think also you need to maybe in on your bottom of your high fives or your superfecta tickets too as well. Donatover on good form right now. So now let's take a look at the early pick five. Take a look at how we got this one mapped out. So we're going to start, you know, usually with me, I try to go with as many alls and as many singles as I can, and tough sequence for me. So we're going to start this off with My Girl Friday, Brisk Sealster, and Mick Maybell are going to be my top picks. Now, Brisk Sealster is going to be my top pick in this race. I think that this filly brings a lot more than what she's been doing right now, but what she's been doing, I've been impressed with. Had the 10-hole in her last, really didn't have much of a chance in that one. Moves back into this maiden, picks up regular driver Jody Jamieson. I think Courtney Bishop is looking at a real good win candidate in here. Mick Maybell was bet down seriously in her last one, was the favorite. Cobra Kate ended up getting the jump on her right on the last. So I'm going to come back with her as part of this as well. And My Girl Friday for Tony Beaton, going to have her in here as well. My single comes up in race number 2. That's going to be Cold Creek Fuego. Like I said, just remember that race number 2, no show wagering in on that race. Race number 3, I'm going to go too deep in here. Powder Play, multiple moves from this girl, and that's a big drop down for her as well to what we've seen her race in the past. You can see that 30 starts last year, $121,000 made. Only less than $40,000 made this year, and only 3 starts less than last year. So, you know, not as productive of a year, but she's recently had a little bit of a break, you know, 5 weeks off, and Meg Crone's got her back. Her first start back, multiple moves in this class, and ended up almost got the job done, and that was first start Lasix. Second start Lasix tonight for her, back into the same class. I'm going to go Gimme a Corona. I think the Gimme a Corona is getting really, really close to jumping up with a win. You know, haven't seen her in the winner's circle here for a bit. I think she's real close, but Powder Play going to be tough in here as well. So that's how I see race 3 is going to be 1 and 4. In race number 4, I'm going to go 3 deep in here. Playdate was actually going to be my top pick in this race, but she's not going to be with us tonight, scratched. So my top picks in the race number 4 is going to be the 2-horse Lady Freight for Doug High and Phil Houdon. I'm going to also throw in Militia Speed for Jody Cullen. Recently gone into Cullen's barn, and she's racing very, very good for them. Had a good 5th in the Harvest Final. Should like moving back into the straight non-winners of 2. But the one that I think that, you know, brings the most to this race is the 9-horse Highland Delight. Travis Henry going to be my top pick in here. And I'm going to close it out 2 deep in race number 5, and that's going to be the always dangerous Chiefs Dream Girl, especially when she's down in a really, really bottom class like this. She's going to be my top pick in here, morning line of 8-1, and I'm going to back her up with the 5-horse Madrid. She could also come up with a bottom them out field. The last time that she raced down in this optional 20, 2 starts down, and that's exactly what Dougie did, bottomed them out in 51. But you know, he had Superior Delight, and he had Cocoa Puff Power in here. Didn't have Chiefs Dream Girl, and I give a lot of stock to Chiefs Dream Girl, the way that she races her last quarter. So if you're looking to bottom the field out, you better hope that Chiefs Dream Girl isn't too close to you, because I don't think that you can bottom her out in the last quarter. She always has good movement on the end of it. Okay, so let's move on to the pick 6 that we got formulated on here tonight. So in race number 4, like I said, the 10-horse Play Date will be scratched, so that will move me to the 9-horse. It'd be a single of the 9, Highland Delight. I don't mind that at all. Like I said, I do really believe that she's the top horse in that race for Ben Hollingsworth. In race number 5, I'm going to go with the 3-horse, singling the 3, Chiefs Dream Girl. I know I'm asking a lot, but like again, this is a huge drop down for her, and I just think that she's by far the best one in here when she brings her A game, and I got a feeling in this class she will be bringing her A game. In race number 6, Dirty Diana, Out of This World, Deo. I'm going to go in that with those 2. In race number 7, as you can tell, no show wagering in this race, and I struggled with this one. I could have actually, you know, maybe even went at an all route in here, but I elected not to, and but I am going to go with 6 numbers in race number 7. In race number 8, back to the single, and that's going to be the single of talk show host. Wow, how good was this guy in his last easiest of winners in 56 by 7 lengths, and going to come right back to the same class, talk show host for trainer Marielle Enberg. And we have a scratch of the 4-horse. Yes, won't be going with us in race number 8. And then we're going to finish this pick 6 off in race number 9, going 2 deep in here. 1 Steady Heart, and the 3-horse Pick Me Up Hanover. I elected to use Park Avenue, leave Park Avenue Janet off my ticket. Again, going back to the fact that she raced extremely well in her last, but it bothers me that last quarter and 30 seconds. There just better be more on the plate, or we are going to be in problems getting her into the winner's circle, because I just don't see 30 seconds doing it. Okay, while we're on the subject, let's take a look at my late pick 5 ticket as well. So we're going to start this one out 2 deep. We do have a scratch in race number 6. The 1-horse Rock Shadow won't be with us tonight, but I'm going to use the 5 Dirty Diana and the 7 Out of This World Deo as to start this sequence off. In race number 7, going to stay with the 2 deep. That's going to be Senior Advisor from the 6th hole, picking up James McDonald for Courtney Bishop. And the 10-horse St. Lads Beat It. Also elected to leave Blast of Sunshine off of my ticket. Just recently claimed, comes out of the Jody Cullen barn, making first to start for Gerard Demers. His barn racing really, really good, but to tell you the truth, it was the inside post that bothers me a little bit. Not really sure where Blast of Sunshine is going to get away from that inside post. In race number 8, back to the singles, and that's going to be talk show host. Again, raced huge in his last, and was the easiest of winner by 7.5. With the scratch of the 4-horse Yes, that's going to move talk show host right back down into the 6th hole, which is what he had in his last start, same class. So I'm just hoping for the same kind of an effort for that one. In race number 9, I'm going to go Steady Heart with the rail, the 3-horse Pick Me Up Hanover, and the 4-horse Park Avenue Janet. Going to throw her in as part of it. And on the race number 10, I'm going to go Fiscal Policy. The 5-horse is going to be my key in here. I thought he raced extremely well. Big movement on the end in his last, and second start Lasix. So that is the way that I am looking at those first 11 races. And while we're at it, let's talk a little play of the night action as well. And that's going to start off in race number 2, and that's going to be Cold Creek Fuego. is going to be my all-in tonight. This one racing so well in her last, going from one series where she absolutely jogged in the in against horses like Simply the Best and All My Wishes, and now she drops down into what I would consider to be a much easier series. You know, non-winners of 30,000. The series she was in before, non-winners of 100,000. So, you know, big drop down for her. She's going to be my all-in. In race number 5, Chief's Dream Girl. Again, you know, I think that she's worth a look in there. 8-1 morning line. In this class, I just think that it's a giveaway money for Chief's Dream Girl. She's always got big movement on the end of it, and hopefully Emma Christoforou is able to get her into the winner's circle. Beat the Favorite is going to come along in race number 7, and that's going to be Senior Advisor James McDonald and Courtney Bishop. And Waples Watch is going to come along in race number 10. That's going to be Fiscal Policy. Second Start Lasix, Phil Houdon and Kevin Enman with Fiscal Policy. So we probably got a few of our resident handicappers. Johnny Rowles down in New Jersey. He's going to go My Girl Friday in race number 1. That's a nice pick in there. I got her in for 3rd. Garnet Barnsdale, Chief's Dream Girl. I completely agree with Garnet on that one. You know, he's all over her. You know, I can see that. I think that is a really good play tonight. Gislan going to go Out of This World Deo in race number 6 and got it down as in top shape. And also picking up Doug McNair, I think, as well, with Out of This World Deo. And yes, picking up Douglas McNair. The last time he drove her, Breeders' Crown elimination, didn't do any good. Finished 8th in there, but how about that last quarter? 26 flat to an overall mile of 49 and 4 for that young filly. So that looking good in there as well. So that's about it. Basically the way I see to start off this Friday night. We're going to go to a commercial break. We'll be back to talk to you before race number 1. Stick around.